Hi, friends. I'm Z. I'm the founder of Embody More Love, which is a spiritual, kinky community for personal and cultural transformation. And I'm speaking to you today on the day of the election. And it's my intention to share with you all what's been growing in our community, in our local play community. And as I was sitting with it, the core of what I want to share with you all today is about daring to want what you want. And I want to speak to that politically as well as in our relational lives. And the courage it is to actually make the space in our beings to claim what we want. So, um, many of you already have been following this, but I guide a 3-month kinky dance immersion. And the spirit of that immersion is to start to separate out who we've been conditioned to be and who we actually are and what we truly want in intimacy and how to create relationships that are a path to love and liberation. And inside of that, we explore dominance and submission and gender in ways that are life affirming. So today, what I want to zoom in on is who we've been told we are versus what who we actually are and who we've been told we are if we want what we want, right? So I want you to just imagine the end of these sentences. If I never have the partnership I long for, then just fill in the blank. If I do cultivate the partnership I long for, then, right? It's like, what does that mean about me? What have I been told that means about me? If I never have the community I long for, then if I do get to live in the community I've longed for, then what does that mean about me? If I never have the government that I long for, then what might I be making that mean about me? And if I do have the government that I long for, what might I be making that mean about me? Right? And the reason I'm asking us to consider these things is that sometimes our brain is so focused on all these stories and meanings that actually distance us from the truth of who we are and what we want in our relationships, in our community, in our politics, right? And at its core, to be willing to claim, I want this, even in the unpredictability of not knowing if life will bring that to us, but to still be willing to say, I want this, is also opening ourselves up to the grief of not having it yet, or to the anger around not having it yet, or to the despair around, I don't know if I believe it's possible. And yet to be willing to still know that we want it, to still say to our spirit, to our heart, I hear you. I hear that you long for this. To be willing to own that, to be willing to let those around us know that about us, know that we long for that, know that we desire that. To be seen in our desires is so vulnerable, is so powerful. And when we do that, we can then live a life from that vision. Like, yeah, this is what I'm moving towards. This is what I want. And whether or not by the end of our life, we can look back and say, I had that government that I dreamed of. I had that partnership that I dreamed of. I had that community that I dreamed of, is actually secondary. Because when you look back and you're like, I got to live such a true heart-centered life because I let myself live from that longing. I let myself live from the depth of what I really wanted. That authenticity will be such a different life than to regret never having named it, never having played for it, never having full out given our hearts towards that which we long for. And all of these things are about relationship. And in relationship, it's not just up to us. There's the humility of so many skills and being adaptable and being compassionate and being willing to consider how we are impacting others in order to continue to play that game of relation tending, whether that's in the collective or one on one or in community. It's like, okay, I'm willing to long for what I want. I'm willing to learn along the way how to bring my love to relationship, how to really make a difference for the people that I love, for the people that I date, for the people I'm friends with, for the people I'm in community with, how to make a difference for a country that I love, if that resonates for you. But to be in that inquiry, in that space that can call forth our generosity and our humility and to make space for what we long for. And one of the things in play, we this past session, we went around and we mapped our relational life. We looked at who are our closest 3 to 5 people in our life and how secure are those bonds. Not just how much do we love those people, but how secure are those bonds, right? Some of the things that distinguish that are, do we have a steady rhythm together, the frequency and rhythm in which we're in each other's lives and having quality time? And is that intentional or is it just circumstantial because we happen to be in the same dance community, right? Another thing that creates a more secure bond is, do we have a history of mutual support, of giving and receiving support with each other? Do we have a history of repair if there's been a rupture? And not only repair, but literally learning how what to do differently and a history of seeing that new behavior over time that starts to build that depth of secure bond, right? Another thing we think about is like, how known do I feel by this person? And for how long have I felt known by this person? These are some of the things that we got to pause and reflect about in our inner circle, in our nearest and dearest, right? And do some relation tending. And we got to pause and then really think about, okay, I want to thank those who are in my inner circle for their presence in my life. And we got to consider, what are the flavors of intimacy that we get to share together? And without going too much deeper into it, there were 18 different kinds of intimacy. For example, spiritual intimacy or dharmic intimacy, uplifting each other's soul purpose, or human family liberation intimacy, right? The depth of intimacy about caring for a more just and liberated society, just being some of those examples. And we got to sort through like, okay, do I want more secure bonds in my life? And what kinds, what flavors of intimacy do I want in my life? And do I have capacity for what I want yet? Or am I moving towards making more capacity, right? What's my relation with my time and my money and my well-being such that I can create the space in my life for the kinds of intimacy that I long for? And we got a moment to reflect on, what might be getting in the way of me having the intimacy that I long for. So it's been such a gift to explore these questions in our play immersion. And I wanted to come on here and share this with you all because we've been doing this work. I've been doing this work for years, and I want to share some of the harvests of the the medicine and the magic that we've been exploring, may it ripple out to more communities so that we can have this kind of deep relation tending. So when it's all said and done, we're not looking back saying, gosh, I wish I had had more friends, or I wish I had more people I could have brought my love to in my life. So this YouTube channel is inviting us to open our hearts to ourselves, to each other, to the gift of being alive, to the beauty of collective life, which in a world with so much violence is a radical thing, to keep our hearts open to the beauty of collective life. And thank you for joining me in this moment as I share this nugget about daring to want what we want. And this is a homegrown community that I started back in 1999. It's been 25 years. And rather than being sponsored by corporations or partnering with organizations that perpetuate systems of oppression, I get to be financially supported by the humans who are most directly nourished by my work. And perhaps that's you. So, for those of you who are already Patreons, thank you so much for your support. And for those of you who are not yet, I invite you to become a Patreon if that would feel delicious to you, because your ongoing financial support means that I can courageously be a truth teller, address taboo topics, and heart-centered responses to what's going on in our world right now. And I want to send a deep grounding, steadying breath out to all of you listening, especially if you're listening today. As the election unfolds here for those of us in the US, may we connect to our love and our care for a better world and for future generations to inherit more sense of solidarity and safety and possibility in their political lives and their relational lives. And I hope that this moment together with you all today can bring a little warmth to your heart. So I'm sending y'all a huge, huge hug. And if you want to join Patreon and have not yet, please join at patreon.com/embody more love.